and we have established a quorum, just so you know, Tim did let us know that you won't be here, so, but we will let you know how tonight goes, and we are going to the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. Marilyn let me know there'll be no visitors or speakers tonight, so if we can get a motion to approve the agenda.
Move to approve the agenda.
And a second. Okay, all in favor? All opposed, motion passes. Can I get a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Move to approve the consent agenda.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you. All approve? I don't know why that was so hard. All opposed, motion passes. Long day. Okay, special presentations. Our student representative has let us know he is unable to attend today, and so we will move right into the superintendent report.
Okay, see my activities for the month there, the month of October. And my highlights, Creswell leadership meeting. I met with our city manager, Vince, and we had a really good meeting about talking about community needs and how we can work together and partner on some things. And as you know, in the past, I've tried to establish regular schedules with the city officials, and that didn't really work out. But Vince is of the same mind and really wanted to have these meetings with me, and so we started off, and things worked out well. We wrote a letter of support for the seismic grant that we're applying for building number 4 at the high school. It was an excellent letter, and you know, they like to see that at the state level. They like to see the partnerships with the school district and trying to address the needs of the community as well as the school district. So that's going to be a good demonstration for that application. And the updates on the bond activities that we have going on are there. You'll see on CHS at the bottom of the list, seismic grant application for building number 4 in progress. For that application and that letter of support is asking for their assistance, the state assistance, to improve the structure of that building. That's a reunification site for the city of Creswell, their campuses, and so that's where we come in together with the city and working in partnership to provide for the city of Creswell. That makes sense? Okay. Anyway, I really appreciate Vince and him writing that letter of support and addressing the city's needs. Any questions about anything on my report?
I have a question. What are we doing with the JV softball?
We've been working on renovating it. We've been broadcasting soil over it, the soil that we've been taking out of other areas, like when we've been preparing the fields, doing the excavation for the fields out there. You broadcast the soil out back here behind this school, behind Crescent Lane, to expand the playground, put a field, the grass field space in there for the kids. And then we broadcast the rest of it out there to level that field, because the JV field really fell off not far beyond the infield. It wasn't any distance that was there for the diameter or the measurements of a softball. And so now we leveled that all out where we have a legal size softball field out there.
Will they be able to play their JV games on it if they need to, or is it just like a practice field?
It's more a practice field. But the youth softball girls teams will be able to play on that field and practice on that field. So that's what we're setting it up.
Was there enough turf remnants to be able to utilize any of that for the infield or something to make it more usable year round?
One other highlight that I wanna speak about is, the other day, this is today, Monday, we had an off the record meeting. I was in there with the other superintendents across the state. And you'll see off the record meeting down here, with, the Director of Education for OBE, Dr. Williams. And Dr. Williams talked about the, financial forecast for Oregon. And gave us some highlights of that, and what she described was a $370 million shortfall, in the state general fund this current year. And so she has, delivered a communication that actually the legislature did, and asked OBE to prepare a budget to reflect a 2.5% cut. And the 2.5% cut is quite a bit of money when we're talking about 11.2 billion. 2.5% of 11.3 billion. And so that's one scenario, and she also, Governor Kotek and the legislature also asked for a 5% scenario, 5% cut out of that. And as a result, OBE is presenting a list of items or areas that they have proposed in that 2.5% if the legislature decides to enact a cut across the board, including state school funds. And so that would, on top of cuts that we've already had this year, the SIA funding and the high school success, which impacts our CTE programs, that would be pretty significant. And the list is pretty exhaustive of the programs that would be hit by that, that's on that list to go to the legislature. So as superintendents, we are gathering and advocating for them to access the rainy day funds. It's a rainy day, it's raining. So anyway, that's where we're coming out at this in support of maintaining our program for schools. This Friday, I'll be sending a letter out to the staff and community explaining this process that the legislature is going to be going through next week on the 18th. And on the 19th, they will have their proposal for resolving this deficit, this 357 million or 372 million. Now, the 372 million doesn't take into account any federal stuff that's going on. This is just straight out economics here for the state of Oregon and where we're at with this economic downturn. And so the education department or the governor's office is having to work on this current budget to resolve that deficit.
Thank you for that, Dave. Any questions for Mike? Heavy information.
Oh, just to be clear, there are no cuts at this point in state school fund for education. That will be decided next week with the legislature in a way that needs to be.
Are you guys who would ask them to defer the Senate bill on?
I can't remember, we went at the roadshow, they talked about some of the, things that they wanted to implement. Like the assessments, things like that, that were in the Senate bill, and whether or not OSBA was working on trying to figure out those if they were gonna implement them or not, based on the fact that we're gonna have reduction in,
Yeah, so, we have a chat going on in there, when we get these presentations in this meeting. And we did talk about the new initiatives that were unfunded.
Mhm.
And now that we're really going into a funding deficit, asking them to really look at those and consider some a grace period or something before implementing those. And they are they sure as Dr. Williams did. The other thing that they're looking at is our tax structure. Because we're attached to the federal tax structure, and that tax structure, the federal taxes have been cut under the Trump administration. Well, we're attached to that same structure, so when that was cut, we were cut on top of the economic situation or what's happening with our economics. We're also not bringing in revenue because we're at the same rate as the feds and they cut. So we're one of the few states that have that kind of tax structure. And that's why it rose to 372 million. If, you know, we would be looking at a much lesser deficit if we weren't attached to the federal tax structure. So there's a proposal to separate from that and have our own state tax structure independent from the federal tax structure, which means we would have to have the same cuts as they do on income taxes.
So separate from the federal funding and potentially implement like state sales tax or something.
No, separate from the tax structure. The way that we have the income tax, the level of income taxes that are taxed. We would separate from what the federal income tax level will be, and then we can have our own income tax level. And what we need it to be. Anyway, those are my highlights. A lot of things are happening on rather quickly around the state, and we're just trying to keep up. But we need to get some information out to our staff and community about and explaining this and what's headed in to the governor's office or to the legislature from OBE, so that it really is not a surprise when the discussion starts happening in the media.
Do we have any idea what the impact will directly be for us with those numbers? That like, have you guys started thinking about that already, or?
So if it's 3.5 million, 2.5% of 11.3 billion, that 3.5 million is 350,000 to us. 1 billion is million, 1 million is 100,000. Pretty straight, because we have close to 1,000 kids, and that's how it comes out. Folks.
Thank you. Any other questions? Mike?
I say that right, 350 million. Yeah. Just trying to keep the math, I'm not math indoors. I do my best. Somebody fact check me on the.
So is over.
Yeah. Okay, thank you very much. We'll keep moving on. We don't have any public comment tonight. So we'll move into unfinished business. First of which is an action to adopt the posted policies for last meeting.
I move to approve to adopt those policies from last meeting.
Second that. Any discussion? Hopefully you guys got a chance to read them last week. I think other than the personal devices policy, which is obviously new to us, the rest of them are pretty minor word changes. Okay, all in favor? All opposed? Motion carries. So we will move to new business. Our first is an action to approve our working session, which we originally asked to be scheduled for next week, Tuesday, November 18th. If we can get a motion, we can discuss.
I move to approve it.
And a second.
A second.
Okay, discussion. We had originally titled this maybe something different. When we were talking about it, I think we talked about using it potentially for board evaluation conversations, but we obviously have something a little bit more pressing that has come up since that initial conversation. And Mike and I have talked, and we would like to notice it as a superintendent search firm proposal meeting. We've asked Mike to reach out to, we said 3, 2 of them have chosen to participate. Search firms within the state of Oregon, we're currently or recently participated in superintendent searches in Oregon. And give us a proposal of their services, a proposed timeline, and a fee structure, essentially, so we can look at it to determine, do we wanna go with OSBA? Would we like to go with another entity that has recently done superintendent searches, or we can talk about if we wanna do it on our own. We'll talk about that if people wanna do that, but that's our thought for the Tuesday session. Is probably our most pressing issue at the moment. As we talked about it, I think our goal would be, as we have our working session, if we can kind of come to an idea of who we want to use so that we can vote on it in the December meeting. And then ask them to start posting the superintendent opening in December, so we can start gathering applications as soon as possible. So that's our initial thoughts. I don't know if anyone has any concerns with that idea.
I did not read it, but I think.
Sorry, I didn't mean to talk.
No, I think we were just saying the same thing.
Wonderful. So Tuesday at 6 p.m. still work for everybody. Okay. So any other discussion you guys wanna have about this?
I do.
Yes.
If we are hiring a firm to do this, what is our involvement in that vetting process? And
We vet them. The search firm does not do the vetting. They get applications for us, so they control like where we post, how to get it out, places maybe more than we would. And then they bring the applicants to us, and then we are the vetters of the applicants, not the search firm.
Okay.
Yeah, we are the decision-making group. And then once we look at them, we decide who we want to interview. They do things like help us set up all the interviews, get the times done, scheduling, work with that person so that we're not contacting them a bunch. And then we would go through the interview process. And then we'll see what they recommend from there. There's probably multiple ways to do it from there. Lacey or Mike, please feel free to jump in if you feel that we did it differently last time.
That's, yeah, we can set it up any way we want in terms of what level of service we want for them. The more service, the more costly it is, right? I do think we have it, or at least I remember in the past having a conversation around initial qualities that we're looking for so that they know what to post, right? So I think that's part of the conversation that we'll need to have in terms of what are the top 5 qualities, characteristics, what are the goals? That way they've got something to work with to try to find a candidate that can align with the direction that we're going. And I think I remember we've had them screen initially for certain things like, can you do a background media check? What red flags did they have, you know? So we can ask for some of that stuff. I don't know if they'll bring back a price proposal, like here's the different things and here's how much each costs.
we went to our superintendent's leaving, what do we do now, session of this, school board convention last weekend.
Did Vince do it or someone else?
Vince did do it, but I took a picture of like what their 5 things was, and I don't know if I should email it to somebody before.
You can, but Vince is one of our proposals. OSBA is one of the proposals that would be.
I just meant if we didn't end up going with him, we still wanted a talking
Oh, yeah,
structure.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, feel free to maybe send it to Marilyn and then she can send it out. Yeah. Okay. So we should vote on having the meeting and then we will have the working session next Tuesday. So all in favor of having a working session on November 18th for a superintendent search for proposal. Okay, motion passes. Thank you all. Okay, so the next is we have OSBA election votes. So, we vote on position 6. Yes,
Right, and then yes. Board of directors, position 6, so you need to choose, you know, if you don't wanna vote, you don't have to vote.
So,
Choose one, and then, the legislative policy committee position 6, there are 2 votes, so.
oh, there's two different ones, so Judy and Adrian are running for policy committee, and then the other three are running for the director position, correct? So I guess first we should discuss, do we want to vote as a board? I don't have a strong opinion.
I don't know why we would give up our option to vote.
Are you all familiar with Judy?
Do you have the names?
Yeah.
You know, did you see the names?
Yeah, Carol, 4J.
Judy Newman and Adrian, Judy Newman's familiar to me.
Very, she's been on 4J board.
Yeah.
Okay, so it sounds like, let's give everyone maybe a few minutes to read if you haven't had a chance to read let's start with the policy committee position, so Judy and Adrian. And then we can do a vote on that one, and then we'll follow up and do the director position. And I won't hold it against anyone, the director's felt in fact.
Oh, it is.
Good.
She has no idea.
Yeah, that's.
It's a blaring eye, literally.
I can't spell seniority for the life of me, because I always forget it, so, you know. No judgment.
It's kind of like French.
Yeah.
It's that Rachel.
Yeah. I know, I thought that was, I wonder if they must be talking about it as a board.
They are, well, there's
This, all of these, most of these are in my group. So I'm well, I have an opinion.
Okay.
Lots of.
I don't know,
I remember,
I only know Judy and Maya's name
I was
from.
gonna say Maya was.
I only know their names from being on 4J, that they don't know.
oh, it's been in a lot, well, it's been in a lot of.
Maureen.
Is that the first one? No, not right. There was the one for the policy.
Adrian or
Adrian.
he's not the that one. I don't know. The other one is Judy, yeah.
Judy, that's what I'm saying. Judy's been the last.
Yeah, her name, yeah.
I know her. I remember Maureen from a couple things that we've done.
It was hard to. So what we'll do is once you have a chance, maybe we'll ask if anyone has nominations. So that we kind of
Yeah.
don't go through each thing. And if we and then we'll vote if. We have to, based on the nomination.
So Judy's just running on now.
Yes.
Or does she?
Just there's more generation for.
Yeah. I think that's.
Okay, so let's talk about the policy committee position 6. Are there any nominations?
I'd like to nominate Judy.
Okay. Any other nominations?
I'll nominate Adrian
You're so
Follett,
good.
just so I can
You're so.
advocate my thought.
Yeah. Okay. So do we want to share why? Thoughts?
Yeah, that's my
Yeah.
only reason. I appreciate what Judy's done. I like Adrian Pollitt's indication that, one, he's from a small district. Sometimes I feel like bigger districts don't really understand what rurals go through. And he's got to focus on sped. I liked that piece in there.
Sarah,
I would be happy with either, so.
I liked her involvement, her longevity, she's been around a long time and she's.
understands policies. Okay, oh, great. So I think we'll just vote, all that would like to vote for Judy, will go there, and then we'll see if we have a majority, and then if not, we'll go with Adrian, is that okay?
Totally.
Okay, so everyone who'd like to vote for Judy, please raise your hand. Okay. We have a majority, so Judy is our official nomination. I kind of like Adrian too, so I was.
It's totally fine. Both would do a great job.
So we have a 3-2 vote.
No, it was 4, 4-2. Gosh. It's just because it's your last year, all of a sudden you got jokes around here. Okay, so let's talk about director for position 6. Any nominations for the director position?
I would nominate Maureen Willenberger.
Yeah. Anyone else? Okay, all in favor for Maureen? We'll say you still got one of them, so. There we go. Okay, thank you all very much. The next thing we will move to, do you have what you need there? Marilyn,
I'm sorry,
did you get what you needed?
yeah,
Okay.
I'll send in, tomorrow,
Wonderful. Thank you.
let them know we voted.
Okay, great, thank you. Next we'll move to trustees reports. Mike Anderson, would you mind going first?
Yeah, I can, I'm on the airport commission, and we had a meeting a couple weeks ago. And I had a chance to talk to the pilot instructors at the airport, and, Mike, if you had time, I'd love to set up an initial meeting with those guys, just to kind of get acquainted and stuff. I know money's tight, but maybe there's a way to make that happen and not cost us too much. Those guys are falling all over themselves trying to get the situation there. And what I'm talking about is pilots actually teach the kids how to fly. I volunteered to go to Seattle or wherever to talk to Last Airlines, because I heard they will help schools that do stuff like that. I need to talk to the Pendleton school, or not Pendleton, but Sisters, because they've got a full class in flight. And they've been really successful with it. See, I just think maybe it's a time to start, if you have a minute, to meet with those guys, see what we can do.
I had something from Sisters, but I'll check and see if I pulled something.
Yeah, I appreciate it. We could just a meet and greet kind of thing to get the ball, because I don't know what's required to get all that started, but I think it's a good time to kind of see if we can't get something going with them. And that kind of lends itself to something else that I'm talking about. But next thing I did was met with Mike and Mary and Sarah at the convention. And I learned a lot of ours up there. I learned their fondue dinner is not a bad thing.
These two. You should have seen the look on their face, oh man.
You took her to like melting pot?
They
My
were
gosh,
so
like, I'm an eater, like, I eat real food.
Is
They thought we were crazy.
It's maybe a little light that up.
Steak and potatoes or fish, something, but it was really good. Y'all got to. To start with, when they bring you a bowl of boiling water, and you're looking at raw meat, you think, what am I gonna do with that? It was an experience. But I'd say it's a good thing, it really was, at the end of the day, it was a good dinner.
Yeah.
Let's see what else, I sat in a session that was, I guess, Wayne County, and they kind of divided us into groups. And everybody had a chance to kind of unload on what was good and bad, and the head of the board at Eugene, every time he talked, he was just shaking like a reed. They're what, 30 million in the hole, 40 million in the hole. The smaller school people had a little preparation for this thing. The big schools didn't sound like they had any preparation at all. But I sat and listened to them, and something that just jumped out on me, and this might not make any sense, but what I'd like to see is somebody like Malachi and Lance and the kids at school talk to the kids that aren't coming here. We're only getting 70, 71, if you can believe the radio. We're only getting 70 to 71% of the kids. And there's a lot of kids that are going to private school, or they're going to computer school or whatever. But I'd like to talk to the kids in our school, and so how can you get your budget met? What's it have to be? And if we had flight training for them, I would think that'd bring some back. The CTE building, I think, will be huge. But what would it take to get those kids back in school? And I have no idea what their answer would be. But I'd like to see that some of the kids that are in school now, ask them, you know, what's it gonna take to get you kids back? Cause each one of them is what, 10 grand towards our budget? Something like that from the state. And, I think it'd be worth the effort. Now, I don't know, you'd have to talk to kids and see if they wanted to, you know, help us out with that, but. The other thing I'd like to see, and maybe this is just the honoriness in me, but I'd like to see that same group of kids. Talk to the kids that opted out on that test, the test that they put the screen in over the state, being up to state standards. I'd like to see those kids, somehow make an incentive for those kids to have, I'd like to see 100% of our kids take that test and see where we're at. Because I don't think we're 25% up to grade speed, or, you know, the state averages I thought were terrible numbers. And our school's doing really well compared to that. But what would happen if we had all the kids show up for that test? And give us and the state an idea of what we're doing. I don't think it's fair to evaluate, especially the superintendents and the teachers, when you don't have a full measure to evaluate them by. But anyway, that's just a couple wild ideas I came up with. And that, in that meeting with the groups about what's going on in the school, they never heard one person say anything about the kids, how the kids doing, how they doing through all this. It was just all about what's happening to them and how far we are in the hole and all that. And it was a real eye-opening for me for a lot of those meetings. But it started off really well with that fondue dinner. But, no, that's all I had. I just like to see our kids, ask the other kids, what's it gonna take to get you back? And I think they can probably play sports, which that's probably not the biggest part of it, but I'd like to see what's it gonna take to get you guys back. Private schools are gonna cost somebody some money. I'd just like to see that, see what happens. Then we wouldn't have such a fall in a cliff when it got. Anyway, that's all.
Thank you so much. Just a follow-up question, don't we already do exit interviews with the families when they leave? As much as you
Well,
tell us.
Yeah, they have an option to put it on the transfer, interdistrict transfer form. Marilyn asked them, if she can. Amy also follows up the family, Amy Aguero, and asks them what can you do better, what do you need from us? And, they're pretty honest.
Pretty
with
set,
her.
yeah. Okay.
She has convinced a few to come back, and participate in our online program. And the thought is that we'll eventually get them in person, or half a day in person, or be able to serve them some way on campus. And so we're working on that with our online school. Because really, most of them don't want to be in school, in a public building.
It's the physical presence, that's the biggest driver.
The biggest population of students that we have that are not here are in our home schools. So, but we work constantly on it. Amy gets more information as time goes on. And then that allows for opportunity for strategies to make improvements or see how we can serve the needs of those families.
Is it too much to ask at some point to be able to get like an aggregated summary of that? If the rest of the board is interested in seeing the data?
We
I
can
need
talk
to-
about that, but
Okay.
I don't know. Amy's calling them in confidence to find out what's going on there, and
I know, that's why I was like, it'd have to be aggregated enough, because I'd hate for a single data point to stand out. Right, if it doesn't make sense, that's okay. I was just following up on his interest,
I'll
in
talk to
terms of,
him.
it's a good question.
or we'll talk and see
Okay,
put something together that she can share out.
okay, if it doesn't make sense when you guys look at it, like, we don't want to see confidential information. Yeah. Okay. In terms of I've got IRC every Friday, I saw some CMS football games. Which included our cheerleaders, middle school cheerleaders out there. I did go to the CTE freshman showcase and saw how they put together. The freshmen move through all the different pathways and then they put together a project that gets presented that uses. The healthcare pathway, the business pathway, the construction, and. There's a fourth, unless the CAD is CAD construction. And then 3D printing is technology. Anyway, there was, if I might remember, their goal was to study how fidget spinners are helpful for calming down anxiety, how. So that was the healthcare pathways piece. They got to use CAD software to design their own fidget spinner. A lot of kids actually got to print it on a 3D printer as well. They were running out of time, so some kiddos, we just saw the digital piece. They had to design their own logo for their company so that was actually probably the most interesting for me when I talked with the different kids around. They loved talking about their personal logo. It was the most personal thing for them. It was kind of like a brand and their personality came out. So I learned quite quickly to ask about the brand. They talked more than if they were telling me, like, what did you learn about how do fidget spinners help? You know, they can recite things, but you saw more of their personality when they talked about their personal brand, their marketing. Oh, marketing, that's the business piece. Sorry. That was on there. So that was pretty cool. I think that project of having them to put together multifaceted, just a multifaceted project is a great way to tie all those different things together. So love that. And then did the chain gang for the last home football with Mike and Lance. And then I am registered for the next telephone town hall with Val Boyle. She's holding another one to do another update. So I think that's coming up soon and I'll share at the next meeting what I learned. Thank you. Okay, that's it.
I also got to attend the fondue dinner. And I went to the conference and we all got these lovely coffee cups. I mean, it was the best swag there. Yeah. It was swag. I also went to the CTE workshop and it was great to like watch these kids engage and be like, this is what I did and this is what went well. These are some of my struggles. And so to be able to watch them navigate them and be able to give you a finished product was impressive. I did all the football. I went to boys and girls soccer, some volleyball. The road show.
I'll tell you.
Yeah, I went to the road show. We went to the road. We went to the road show. Okay. I don't know what else is there. That's about it. Thank you.
I had my one-on-one with Mike. I went to the boys game, Randy, the last home game. I drove up yesterday and went to the girls game. Wherever I was in Denver somewhere. It was great. I enjoyed soccer as that was much, I really do enjoy soccer, but I really enjoyed Montana. He was super entertaining and I had a great time watching him. So I mean, it was great, but also the road show. It was really good. I enjoyed it. They did talk about a lot of the legislative things and I know Mike was talking about testing and I don't know how it's gonna be implemented and all the different things and timelines, but they did talk about bringing in the assessments so that we can have a different form of showing our, like what we're doing as a school. And that kind of like alleviating what these test scores are showing, because we're seeing these test scores and we're saying, oh my gosh, but we're having these opt-outs. And at least if they're gonna put something into place where we have assessments and we can have a better understanding of where we're at as a school, I was excited about that possibility, so. But what timelines, budgets, things like that, it's all gonna be, you know, but it was good, so that's for me.
Oh, I went to a couple football games, so like homecoming, senior night, Brandy's final game, which was really fun to see. It was fun to see, I don't know, guys that you know, since they were really little, all the way grown up and everything, but. Let's see, I did watch some girls and boys soccer via CSPN. I did, because I wasn't able to go up yesterday, but Malachi was up there, live streaming and doing that, so that was fun. I had a leadership meeting. I also attended the fondue dinner and the sketchy car ride.
Oh my gosh.
Our sketchy car ride to Feathers. It was a very interesting conference. Takeaways, I went to a session on the state school funding and the formulas and all of that, and I learned that they just need to change the formula. That's my takeaway. Like, I can give a recommendation. I can give a recommendation.
Maybe you could change it for 20 years.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if that's ever gonna happen.
Well, we asked the question of how do we get this section of the formula changed, and they were really clear that it's all legislative, but I'm just saying it needs to be changed. That was definitely my takeaway. As well as we're hiring a new superintendent now what session, a lot of takeaways there, the process and all of those things that we're about to learn. Also that a lot of schools are hiring new superintendents. Like, this is not just us, the turnover is high, and they talked a little bit about that in the process. So we're not the only ones going through the process, but at least we're going through it because you're retiring, which is, it's good for you and we're excited for you. But
I feel like they said there were like 107 districts.
170 in the last 4 years.
70.
Yeah.
170 new superintendents in 4 years.
yeah. So the numbers were staggering, and it really thankful that you all are willing to do that job. Thank you. So that was my takeaway, and then we did have leadership. And I can't remember if our one-on-one was between the last, I can't remember what it was. So there's that. So yeah.
It counts.
It counts. Okay, you did it. I did it. I did the thing. So those are the things that I can remember that I found.
Thank you. I also had leadership with Mike and Mary, and the one-on-one, which were only one day apart, so it felt like just a long meeting for a whole day. I went to the volleyball playoff game, which was sad, but an excellent game nonetheless. And I didn't get to go to the boys and girls soccer games, but I did watch them online. And I call it Malachi and Friends that we watched, which was very entertaining. And I learned more about soccer because I know people love soccer, but I don't love soccer. So it was good to learn some new things. I would like us to consider recognizing Brandy in our next school board meeting for a couple of reasons. One, I think she was just named boys soccer coach of the year. And two, she's retiring from coaching after I think 33 years. And I think those are both important things for us to recognize. And she has been even an athletic director in this district.
Well, she did step up and she called for double duty this year. That's a lot of work.
A lot of work.
These last couple of days have been very long. Just because Malachi went with, like he was there for a long time, and I can't imagine coaching and stress.
So there are ways to recognize her at school board meeting. That's great. Yes. And that's all I had. Okay, so I think we have board goals. I think we're gonna, unless anyone feels differently, I think we need to push back the evaluation of our board assessments till we get through maybe the superintendent search thing. And last we have on the agenda is advocacy, but I think I heard you say probably next month after the ballot.
Yeah, I'll bring back whatever I learned.
Okay. Wonderful. Are there any future agenda items that you guys would like to request? Or well, we can bring it up now, or just email Mike and I and we'll, and Mary and we'll work on getting it on the agenda. So with that, our next meeting is on the 10th. Our next working session is on the 18th. Our next regular school board meeting is on the 10th, hopefully with the goal of deciding on a search firm for the superintendent.
Oh, can I add one thing I forgot is, I had congratulated Bethany because the middle school cheerleading team
Oh, I
this
saw
last
that.
weekend got second.
Yes.
Our mascot got first. And they're competing, their next competition is Thurston, so it's local enough that makes it easy to go, but I can't remember the date now.
It's this Thursday.
This
It's a
Thursday.
showcase, it's not a competition. A lot of local teams will be there.
Okay. Okay, this Thursday.
I know a little bit about, it's at. Oh, no, sorry, not this, the 20th.
Next Thursday.
Or is it this, I'm like really losing track of my thing.
Next Thursday.
Is it next Thursday?
I don't remember.
It's tomorrow.
Tomorrow?
Tomorrow.
Wow.
Okay, that one is all over next.
Change your time.
7 o'clock. 7 o'clock at Thursday.
Okay,
But it was free tomorrow night.
I just wanted to throw that out there, one of the few that's local, that's, not Kelowna, so, okay, I just remembered that, thanks for letting me squeeze that in.
Thank you so much. Oh,
Very
I
good.
did not see this, but also think about going to the winter conference.
Yeah.
I mean, choir, sorry,
Yeah.
at conference on the brain, the choir concerts. Since we're always trying to look for things at Crest Lane, so thank you for remembering. With that, if there's nothing else, we will adjourn.
This is sponsored.
Yeah.